So, one of the first things that I'm going to address is a pervasive attitude that a lot of people have towards not just building apps, but building any sort of startup or any sort of digital business currently, is this idea of building it and they will come. It is a complete fallacy. There's too many people who have this idea that you can just, make a great product, spend a lot of time on refining it, making it perfect, making it what you think to be ideal, and then launch it to huge success. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. More and more so, we're seeing that ideas that haven't been validated, ideas that are just based on a founder's perception of the market doesn't work. And you'll find yourself wasting a lot of time in the development stages of your product. And once you launch it, you actually see a complete empty audience. Nobody's interested in it. So a really great book that I recommend on this topic is Lean Startup by Eric Ries. And the whole Lean Startup methodology is really, really great for building digital products in this current day and time. And one of the most important concepts within the Lean Startup methodology is this idea of starting with a minimal viable product and an MVP, and allowing the end user to help iterate on it and eventually arrive at a product which people will buy. No matter how great you think your product is, if there is zero interest in it, it will be non-sustainable. So forget about this whole idea of building it and they will come, and every step of the way you need to validate your idea and you need to think about the end user. So one of the first things that we're going to talk about with relation to apps is a concept called app zombies. And this is basically a term that we used to refer to apps which are below the 25th listing on the App Store. So say if you go into the App Store and you search for something like ninja games, right? And first you see Clumsy Ninja, and then if you keep scrolling, you'll come across the first, second, third app, etc. in this whole list. And the point where you've scrolled past the 25th app, any apps below that is known as a app zombie, because they're virtually undead. They're virtually undiscoverable because nobody has the patience to keep scrolling that far. It's just the same as the fact that nobody looks past Google page 2. If your app is listed so far down for a particular keyword, then you're not going to see the downloads. So there's a German company called Adjust, which publishes data on the zombie rates across the app stores in the world. And this is the data from 2015. I think the 2016 data is coming out soon. But essentially, it's a very alarming trend. You see that at the beginning of 2013, zombie rates were around 57, 58%, and now they're close to 91%. So it's a sign that the app stores are massively saturated. And in order for you to get noticed to be the 10% that's not a zombie, you have to know about app marketing. The thing that you don't see from this graph is the fact that there's been a huge influx of independent developers pushing their apps onto the app stores. And 95% of those independent developers do zero app marketing, absolutely nothing. In this whole idea of build it and they will come, they launch it onto the App Store, cross their fingers and hope for the best, but they won't see the downloads, they won't see the revenue coming in because it's no longer the same world as we were in 2013. The app industry has changed and you have to change with it. So in the coming modules, we're going to be talking about various ways in which you can ensure that you are within this top 10% rather than the 90% of people who essentially are what we call below the App Store poverty line, the people who don't make enough revenue on the App Store in order to sustain themselves or their business. So the other thing about zombie rates is that it varies between genres. So if you're looking at something like the weather category, because it's such a specific niche, or niche, as you guys in the US say it, there can't really be all that much competition in there. But when you look at something highly competitive like entertainment and games, especially the arcade game category, the zombie rate shoots straight up, and it's currently close to 90%. So depending on which category you're targeting or your app targets, you have to think even harder about how you can be noticed and how you can get people to download it. So, all of this is just to stress how important it is to do just a little bit of marketing. Even if you do a little bit, it's better than nothing. And you will find that the App Store has changed from this place where you can just, put your goods and people will come along and buy it, to a place where you actually have to actively hawk your goods. You have to shout about it. You have to tell everybody about how amazing your app is so that they can discover it and so that they can download it. So in the coming modules, that's exactly what we're going to teach you. So without further ado, let's start the first module.